your hands up, yeah. To the floor, yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 93. We are back again with another late night podcast. I don't know if this is going to become like a regular thing.
Yeah.
Our schedules are just like
Crazy.
way different than what they used to. I mean, they're not just crazy, they're just different, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like Wednesday, Saturday was always our thing, and now that it's summertime, it's just it's weirder. So I mean, I would like to do another podcast other than just the late night one, but I don't mind it. I mean,
Like,
it's kind of cool.
Do I even have to title it the Late Night Cast? Like I am.
Why not? I mean, you could.
But I definitely am. So I think it's a cool advertisement. But like, yeah, this could become a little bit normal.
Yeah, we're coming at you even later than last week. Last week you started at like 9:45. It's 10:15 right now when we're starting. So, yeah, this one's going to be extra late. We got our food. We got our guest here with us today, Mr. Caesar. So, not sponsored, by the way.
He is little. It is true. It's not a joke.
Yeah, it's Tuesday night tonight. And pretty much our last podcast was a week ago during the first round of the NBA playoffs. And we are officially through the first week of the playoffs. And we are just here to talk about it. So
In the second round now.
we're in the second round. We're going to talk about the losers of the first round so far, the games through the second round. Before we get into that, we do have a good amount of news this week, though. So let's hop right into that. First thing, this one just got announced literally like an hour ago.
I might have missed it, in all honesty.
Nikola Jokic
no,
was
I didn't.
named the MVP of the 2020 to 2021 NBA season. Well-deserved. I think everyone kind of knew he was going to win it. Steph Curry he had some hype towards the end of the season, but his team ended up missing the playoffs, so no way he's going to win it, not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think Jokic's season really is just being so appreciated, going under the radar. I mean, he averaged like 26, 11, and 8 on really good shooting. I think he shot over 40% from three this year as well. And he also like went crazy in the first round as well. Like was 50, 40, 90 in the first round of the playoffs. And he just really is. I still feel like he still isn't getting talked about enough.
Yeah, he isn't getting the respect he deserves for the season he had. It doesn't help that his big, huge games, not that he didn't have any at the end of the season, but his first half of the season was crazy. He was going nuts every night. Remember in fantasy? We'd sit there and he'd be a guaranteed 80 points, it felt like. And
Yeah, he was the number one player in fantasy like all year, yeah.
And you couldn't say the same thing about Steph at the start of the year. And at the end of the year, it changed, and recency bias came into play. But Jokic has been dominating. I'm really excited for the Denver the Denver series coming up. They play not the Clippers, the other side, the Suns. Game 1 was last night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super excited for that. I didn't get to catch any of it last night.
It was a pretty good game.
But, I mean, that series should be incredible. The MVP Jokic is unreal and isn't getting talked about enough. First center to win the award since Shaq did it in 2000.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. I mean, the center is one of the 5 positions on the basketball court.
Yeah.
You'd expect him to be a little more often. When was the last time
I
a
didn't even
power
think about
forward
that.
did it?
Giannis.
Duh. Yep.
I mean, like, Giannis isn't like a big man, though. I mean, this is the first big man to do it since Shaq, for sure. Just because, like...
What about KG? Didn't he win it in like 08?
He won it. Yeah, he won it in like 04 or 05. Yeah, he probably. Yeah, I guess he would count as a big man. Yeah, but
Or Dirk?
Yeah, Dirk too. Yeah, I guess I wasn't. But yeah, as a
Yeah,
center,
yeah.
Jokic.
It's crazy.
Jokic deserves it. Shout out to Jokic. I saw a tweet on Twitter that was like, it was from October when Jokic said they asked him what he did on his day off or whatever. He was like, I watched Pokemon for 5 hours, and someone quoted it today and said, "This dude just won MVP." Jokic is super funny too, so shout out to Jokic for winning MVP, and I think he could be a multi-MVP winner as well because he is still very, very young in this league, so he's not even in his prime yet.
And Denver only gets better from this season, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, everything goes well. Jamal Murray recovers well. MPJ stays healthy because he has an injury history.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Gordon for a full year. This team's going to be back and probably better next year. And your team gets better. Jokic is going to be better because of it. That's scary. That's MVP.
Very excited for sure.
Very.
Next on the news, last week we talked about where we think Julio Jones is going to get traded. And he did get traded on, Saturday or Sunday, this weekend at least. he got traded to the team that was kind of expected to be the top dog to trade for him, to the Tennessee Titans for not even for a first-round pick, surprisingly. I really was expecting a first-round pick. It was kind of consensus that they were going to get at least a first, and he gets traded to the Titans for a second-round pick next year and a fourth-round pick in 2023, and then the Titans also get a 2023 sixth-round pick from the Falcons. So not as high value as I thought that Julio Jones was going to go for. But, I mean, he also was coming off of a year where he was injured most of the season, and he is older, but still, he's still an elite wide receiver. So he's teaming up with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown gave him he said, you can have my number, and he was like, nah, you keep it. He's wearing number 2, which is going to be super cool. I could not. I mean, A.J. Brown is like I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, he's a fan of Julio Jones. Like, he was fanboying over him on TikTok and stuff, and it's just super cool that they're teammates now. Like AJ Brown is just still like a young kid in my eyes. So like it's really cool to see.
Well, I don't know when this picture was taken. There was a picture of him practicing in the Julio Jones jersey. And I think he said it was in a pregame warm-up. He was wearing a Julio jersey, and he's like, I manifested this. was his whole thing in manifestation, whatever. But I don't know about you, but I feel like this is highway robbery by the Titans. Like, this is like, you guys became a Super Bowl contender for where you already were. No, they weren't.
They were a good team.
Yeah,
they're a top 10 team in the AFC, probably.
And they were on the edge.
And a chance to win their division for sure.
Yeah. Now for a second and a fourth for Julio Jones to make yourself a contender, that's highway robbery to me. That's Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
DeMar, no, that was a better deal. The Spurs got more out of it.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I definitely expected a first to be in this deal. I didn't think like it was going to take 2 firsts or a first and a second or anything. I figured a first and like a fifth would get it done. But a second and a fourth was not what I expected. Maybe his value just isn't as high as we all think. Obviously, like I said, he is older, but he's still an elite wide receiver, one of the best that we've ever got to see. He's probably a top 3 wide receiver that I've ever gotten to watch play with him. Calvin Johnson and AB. That would be my top 3 that I've got to see. Just off the top of the head. Like, Des Bryant is in there, but I think I take Julio over both them guys for sure.
And yep, absolutely.
But
those are the only 5, I'd say.
It's super fun to think about what Titans are going to have next year. I'm so excited to do a full NFL episode, by the way. Like, I know we haven't really done one yet, just because the NBA playoffs are going on, but I can't wait to do a full NFL episode predicting everything. I'm super stoked for that. And I think we can grade off seasons as well at some point. I'm just so excited for the NFL season. I say that so much, but I just am.
And we've already talked about why. I mean, we have no expectations. We get to enjoy the game again, like we did this year with basketball.
Yeah.
We've just been sitting back and enjoying the game. It's beauty. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for next season.
Next on the news, another award. Tom Thibodeau wins Coach of the Year. He was kind of, I mean, not really surprising just because Monty Williams was voted Coach of the Year by the coaches. And Thibodeau, usually whoever wins that ends up winning the actual Coach of the Year award. But it does not happen like that this time, as Tom Thibodeau is Coach of the Year. I think it's well-deserved. This Knicks team was supposed to be really bad, pretty much the same roster they had last year. And Thibodeau comes in and makes them a top 4 seed in the East and turns Julius Randle into a superstar. And this team just on paper wasn't even a playoff team, and they were a top 4 seed in the playoffs. Yes, they lost in the first round, but still they beat expectations by 1 million. Tom Thibodeau deserves this for sure. I believe this is his second Coach of the Year. Pretty sure, but
he won with the Bulls.
I think he won one when D Rose won MVP.
Yeah. This is huge. The New York Knicks, if we were to go back and grade their off season, like not even using hindsight, but if we would have done it last summer, graded their offseason, I would have not hesitated to give them a D or lower. I don't know exactly. Would not have hesitated. It would have been a D or lower. Probably an F. He just took that roster and said, hey, I'm going to make you guys a top 4 seed. Julius Randle is going to win Most Improved, and RJ Barrett's going to emerge as a young guy who they can look to build, or not build around, but build off of his success. Yes, they both struggled in the playoffs. One, they've never played in the playoffs.
Yeah, and then this is their first experience in the playoffs, and I think this is a great lesson for them.
RJ Barrett's
they can come
21.
back next year. They have the experience of losing in the playoffs, but I think they have an advantage with playing in Madison Square Garden. You know, that helps a lot. But yeah, Thibodeau came in and really just took this team and built them on defense, and that was his goal coming into this. This team, obviously, there is not a lot of skilled offensive players on this team. Like, obviously, they're in the NBA, but I'm talking in
NBA.
terms of the of NBA players. There was not a lot of guys on this roster that was like, all right, we're gonna beat teams by outscoring them. No, so they're gonna have to beat teams by playing great defense, and that's exactly what they did. And he built a great offense through Julius Randle as well, and I really think that he deserved this award. Shout out to him for winning it.
I expect the Knicks, in all honesty, to be about the same spot next year. Teams are going to come in expecting the same thing, but I think they're going to be better. I think you're going to see a guy like Emmanuel quickly really step up and step into a larger ball-dominant role. And R.J. Barrett, I don't see him getting worse. He was awful in the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. He was horrible.
Yeah.
But he's like, what, 22 probably? 21?
Yeah, 21 probably.
I mean,
he might be 20. He's only in his second year, and then Zion's only 20.
Yeah. This dude...
He's 20 or 21.
This dude averaged 20 points a game this year off pretty solid efficiency for what he is known for. I mean, he's not an efficient basketball player by any means his rookie year. This second year was great. RJ Barrett and Julius Randle are both, examples of why you can't give up on a player too early.
Oh, you definitely can't give up on. I mean, RJ Barrett. I think no one gave up on him because of rookie.
But
year,
they were already talking down.
Yeah.
On him.
Oh yeah. People make they over exaggerate, but yeah, definitely you can't give up on a rookie after his first year. And Randle, a lot of people had given up on him.
I think most people
just to become a star. I mean, he's still a solid player, but like, never thought he would become an all-star. I never thought that ever. We dogged Jagger for drafting him in fantasy basketball.
Roasted him.
Because it was, I mean, obviously he was going to get drafted, but he drafted him kind of early. We were like, huh?
What a great pick, Jagger.
Yeah, exactly. So, shout out to Thibodeau for doing that. Next on the news, a couple of coaches in the NBA get fired, starting with Terry Stotts of the Portland Trail Blazers. It had come out, Damian Lillard said, we need change. Damian Lillard has always been a guy that has really loved Terry Stotts, and they let him go finally. I think I picked Terry Stotts to win Coach of the Year at the beginning of the year, so that's kind of funny. And then Steve Clifford is fired from the Orlando Magic. Kind of expected. Magic are headed in a direction that Steve Clifford doesn't really fit. So we'll get more into Terry Stotts in Portland as we talk about the losers of the first round. But Dame Lillard said that he wants Jason Kidd to be the next coach of the Trailblazers, and Jason Kidd does not want to be Portland's coach. He literally came out and said that he felt uncomfortable by Damian Lillard calling out to the public that he wants him to be the coach, which is very odd. I think I would feel the opposite way.
I'd feel like honored.
I mean, it is weird as a player to come out and say who you want to be the coach because it puts all the other candidates in a weird spot. As if they get hired, then it's like, all right,
he doesn't want
the star
me here.
Already doesn't want me here. I don't think it's right for Damian Lillard to do that, but I also find it very weird that I understand him because Jason Kidd was a great point guard. Damian Lillard can learn a lot from Jason Kidd. But yeah, Jason Kidd said he felt uncomfortable from Damian Lillard doing that and declined the Portland job. So very odd there.
And I know Dame came out and said he wouldn't force Portland's hand to make a decision on any coach. He said, I'm not going to be
and he can't. I mean, he's in no position to do that.
Which is good, but I would, if I'm Jason Kidd, I can't believe I'm saying that. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's super cool. Still don't really want to come coach. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe he doesn't get along with.
There's probably something else behind it because that reasoning is really odd to me. I feel like I would be flattered if Damian Lillard said, I want you to be my coach. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's a NBA top 3-point guard, top 2.
And then lastly on the news, Aaron Rodgers. No show to mandatory mandatory Packers mini camp today. He has not shown up to any of their training camps so far this summer. And this week was the start of mandatory camp, and he still doesn't show up. Packers players, Davante Adams has said he's got his back through all of this. I really still don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. I think he's not going to play.
Me too.
But I don't think he's going to get traded. So I think we might be done with Aaron Rodgers. If that's the case, that's cool with me. So we'll see. But we'll see what happens with this Aaron Rodgers situation because it is interesting. I have definitely not grown to like Aaron Rodgers, but throughout this whole process of him hating the Packers, I have definitely lean towards the I'm
Respect.
on Aaron Rodgers' side of this Aaron Rodgers Packers beef. I still despise both of them, but I'm definitely on Aaron Rodgers' side of the beef between him and the Packers.
My thing, I don't like the Packers, and I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but I don't like to see a player forced into retirement like this. Aaron Rodgers is old. There's no secret. If he doesn't play this year, there's a good shot he never plays football again. And that's not how I want to see him go out. Granted, I would much rather see him suck in his last 3 years and go out.
I just hope that he ends up not playing this year, gets cut, and then gets signed in a year or two from now. Which, he'll be old, but he just won the MVP last year, so I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's pretty much it for the news. So let's get into the playoffs. So last time we talked, let's see, what series did we have? The only series we had finished was the Milwaukee series, the Philly-Washington series, and Utah-Memphis. So let's talk about the other series that ended. Atlanta-New York was one of them because we talked about the Knicks as well. I guess we talked about Brooklyn-Boston, or because we talked about what Boston needs to do.
Because most of the series were over.
Yeah. We
but
talked
not
actually, we got
official.
through all the East ones, but there's 3 West series that we got to talk about. Let's start with Portland just because we kind of were talking about them a little bit. Last time we talked, it was 2-2, and that game was going on. Denver ended up winning the next 2 games, winning the series 4-2. Damian Lillard had a crazy, absolutely insane 55-point game in Game 5, and they still lost in double overtime. And then they lost Game 6 as well when they were up 15 points, I think, at one point. And Denver moves on. First, shout out to Denver for winning this great series. I like these 2 teams matching up a lot. Austin Rivers has really stepped up for the Nuggets, and so has Campazzo. Their guards and Monte Morris especially, their guards have stepped up big time with Jamal Murray out. Portland, though, I saw this. They lost in the first round 4 out of the last 5 years, or 5 out of the last 6 years or something, except that year they made the conference finals run. They're in a really weird spot right now because this team is kind of capped out. I don't know how much better this team can get. Their roster is really nice. This offseason, I was a huge fan of what they did, and I thought that they were going to – I picked Dame to win MVP. I picked Portland to be a top 3 seed. I thought Portland literally had a chance to make the finals all season, and it clearly just wasn't enough. Their defense is just not there at all. They cannot play defense, especially protecting the rim. I don't know. Where is Portland's direction here? Because there's a lot of different options you can go with. You can go with the full rebuild. You can go with the retool. But moves need to be made.
I prefer the retooling route, and I don't know how big of a retool you need. It might be, the second unit that needs help. You need a defensive big man. There's no secret. You cannot keep running who's in the middle? Not
Nurkic. Oh, Cantor.
Yeah. Cantor isn't
Can't play Cantor.
You can't do that. This roster just they need to come together and put it together. I wouldn't mind shopping around CJ McCollum as a guy, getting a different 2 guard, maybe a more defensive-minded player, whether it be a 2 or a 3 or whatever. But CJ and Dame, yes, they're a great duo, but clearly there is something off there, and I'm not saying one of them needs to be better. That's not it. They just aren't the perfect fit because of their defensive liability. And CJ is not a good wing defender. He's big and he's long, but he's not great.
He's not big. He's 6'2".
Isn't he really? I thought he was taller than 6'2".
No, he's very small.
Oh, I thought he was 6'4".
He's definitely not big.
But I don't think this team needs a whole lot of work. I think they just need to put it together. The issue is you play in the West. It takes good matchups. You have to match up against the right team every time and beat the matchup that you get. That doesn't always happen in the playoffs. You're going to have teams that you don't match up well. The Denver Nuggets was not a good matchup for them. Nurkic guarding Jokic.
Anybody guard Jokic, yeah.
Very few centers in the league can keep up.
Getting Robert Covington was a huge move for them this offseason. Robert Covington would be a great guy to match up against Michael Porter Jr. in this series, but Covington was guarding Jokic this whole series because they couldn't play Nurkic or Cantor. They couldn't. It just was not. It was hurting them so much that they were going this small ball route, which Covington is a great defender, but against Jokic, it's just Jokic is too big for him. Portland is in a weird spot because I think that the move that, there's a lot of talks about a Dame Lillard trade. Dame needs better. A Damian Lillard trade would be absolutely crazy. I think there's only a few teams that can legitimately pull off a realistic trade for Dame Lillard, and it would still be giving up a lot. I don't think Dame Lillard gets traded, though. Portland, he seems very loyal to Portland his whole career. But I think Dame Lillard needs to really look himself in the mirror and think, how much longer can I stay loyal to Portland? How much longer can I wait for this organization to put the pieces around me to build this team? Dame Lillard is not getting any younger. He's 30. I think he turns 31 pretty soon. I think the move that they have to make, I think you got to move CJ McCollum for, like you said, a defensive anchor, center or forward. Maybe Mitchell Robinson. I know that it's kind of a weird, like it wouldn't be just a 1-for-1 like that. A Miles Turner type guy. Norman Powell, I think, can just be your CJ McCollum. I think you bring back Norman Powell and he becomes a 2. I think playing those 3 together is just way too small. I think Norman Powell just becomes the CJ, and you use CJ's value and money to go out and get another guy. But I also think that you do explore a Dame trade, because Dame's value is very high, obviously.
All-time high.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think Dame and CJ are going to win a championship together. I just don't think. I think that everyone kind of has that same view, and it's unfortunate to say because they are one of my favorite duos in the NBA. They're one of the best backcourts in the NBA.
One of the longest.
And
they've been
together
so
for so long. I mean, even back when Wall and Beal were together, a top backcourt duo. Dame and CJ have been a duo for like 6, 7, 8 years now, like a good duo. So it's going to be sad, but I do think it's the best move for Portland to move on from CJ. But I think a full rebuild is not out of the question, at least. I don't think it's out of the question.
No, me either. I think it also, at some point, do you throw in the towel and say, okay, it's just not it. You have Nurkic, who is great. Nurkic can be elite at times, but is he the guy, And when you keep having guys who aren't the guy, it doesn't work for so long. At one point, you have to retool, reshop. The only problem is it's hard to do that when you have a player like Damian Lillard on your team. At what point do you say, okay, we're going to go into a rebuild even though we have a top 2 point guard in the NBA?
Exactly, and that's just the part that makes their not their rebuild, this offseason so interesting. Because I don't see them like moving CJ for like a young player and picks. Like, you need to move CJ for a guy that's going to help you win right now. And that because of Damian Lillard, he is in his prime and he is a top 10 player in the NBA. I mean, you need to get guys around him that can win right now. I mean, Mitchell Robinson is a younger asset, but I just don't see them trading CJ McCollum to some team for like a first-round pick and a younger player that's not that good,
I love the Miles Turner look.
Yeah, Miles Turner would be cool, but like, would Indiana want CJ McCollum when they have Karis LeVert?
Yeah, no.
So it's weird. I don't know.
But they could want Mitchell. That's not a bad. That's a good little trade you made.
The Knicks might want CJ. I think he would fit their team pretty well.
They need more
a guy that can
just
literally come in and get buckets. I think that's exactly what the Knicks need. But would Portland? I mean, Mitchell Robinson for CJ McCollum. Mitchell Robinson is making like $1 million, so they'd have to figure out money somehow. Maybe you give them. No, I don't know how that would work at all. Actually.
Yeah, because the money just doesn't line up at all.
You might as well just trade him Dame Lillard. Actually, never mind. But yeah, any other Portland?
Holy moly! Real quick, Dame Lillard in the Garden would go ballistic, dude.
I know, bro.
He'd be unbelievable.
I was watching a video that was like 10 realistic Dame Lillard trade scenarios, and the Knicks one was pretty cool, but there was a couple other ones. Oh, Dallas was one that I really liked, bro. Dame and Luka together would be absolutely lethal. Like, that would be insane. Porzingis goes back to Portland with, I think, Tim Hardaway and a bunch of picks, too. But, that would be so cool.
That's like a perfect segue. We can move right into that series.
Oh, yeah, talking about Dallas? Yeah, we might as well. So, yeah, Dallas is in a similar but also kind of different spot than Portland, whereas Dallas also has a top 10 player in the NBA that is a guard, and they lose in the first round back-to-back years. But their star is 22 years old, and he is very, very young.
And he's literally got, like, GOAT potential. Like, you're not dealing with a David Lillard young star. You're dealing with, like, a Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson type young star.
Maybe. I mean, hopefully. But, Dallas loses back-to-back years in the first round. Pretty much brought back the same team that they had last year. But Dallas is in a weird spot because right now, going into this offseason, Luka Doncic is going to get absolutely paid this offseason. He's going to get $40+ million a year, Supermax extension, all of them. The amount of guys that are going to get huge extensions this year. Think about that 2018 class, all those guys. Luka, Trae Young, Jaren Jackson.
Does Ayton get one?
Ayton probably will.
He gets a bag.
He's going to he'll get a super big bag. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Mikal Bridges, Miles Bridges will get a decent bag. I mean, Luke Kennard got $464 last year. Like
that turns out.
There's definitely guys that I'm forgetting too. Like,
I don't remember draft classes like you do.
I think John Collins is 2018. I'm pretty sure. Like there is just so many guys that are gonna get bags this offseason in that draft class. But anyways, back to Dallas. Dallas is in a weird spot because a lot of talk is coming to Kristaps Porzingis, a guy who they traded a lot for a few years ago to team him up with Luka, which I think was a good move at the time. I think they made the right idea by trying to get a star with Luka while he was on his rookie contract. But Porzingis has really just not become what they needed him to be. He came to Dallas to be their center and be a rim-protecting center that can stretch the floor and knock down shots, and now he's just like not that. He's playing with Boban because they were playing Porzingis and Boban while the Clippers played no centers in their series. Zubac was not playing. Marcus Morris and Nicholas Batum are running center. Like,
there should be no reason ever for Boban to have to be on the floor when you have KP to be that center that you can do exactly what he should be able to do exactly what Boban did. Like there's no reason he can't sit in the paint and catch balls and then kick out. But he can't, and he won't, and he refuses to.
And defensively too, he doesn't protect the rim like he used to in New York. I mean, he was an elite shot blocker for the Knicks.
And he came out and bitches about his role as I came in expecting to be the second star, and now I feel like I'm kind of a role player.
I mean, he was the second star at first.
Yeah, but then Boban is getting more touches than you when you can be doing the same thing Boban is doing. There's no reason you can't be in the middle of the paint catching all those post-entry passes and making a quick move. And that's the issue with KB. I don't think it's the Mavericks' fault. One issue that the Mavericks have ran into is this ball dominance issue of Luka. Not saying it's a serious issue because it's not, but Luka had the second highest usage rate of any player ever in playoffs history, only behind 2016 Westbrook.
Really?
That clearly, the other guys, most of them hadn't won. Jordan did it when he was like 22. I think he was
how
number
does
4.
2018 LeBron not have a higher than when he took that Cavs team to the finals?
I mean, Luka scored or assisted on like 45% of Mavericks plays.
Yeah, and he in the season he led the league in usage rate as well.
And you can't. And Kobe said it before. Rest in peace, Mamba. Jimmy High Roller came on the video, and that's why I have all this knowledge right away. Kobe came out and said years ago that Harden can't win doing it the way he's doing it in Houston because that just doesn't win. Kobe's trying it. It doesn't win games. You need to be behind the defense. When you're starting in front of the defense every time, it creates issues. Luka needs to be able to step off the ball every once in a while and go sit in the corner and make plays. Cut to the dunker spot and make passes. Luka doesn't have that opportunity because who else is going to have the ball? Trey Burke? Like Tim Hardaway?
Trey Burke, he don't even play for them anymore.
You want Tim Hardaway bringing the ball up? Like, you have an issue. You need that other guy, and you also need a center. You cannot be running. KP doesn't work. You got to move him for a team that doesn't need a center, a team that needs a guy, but not a center. This Dallas team keep getting shooters. Tim Hardaway is a great acquisition. He's a perfect guy to be next to Luka. They need another more ball dominant player than Tim Hardaway, but I do love Tim Hardaway next to Luka.
Mm-hmm. Tim Hardaway is an interesting situation too because I believe he's a free agent this offseason, and he's a guy that is like a good chance he might get a decent payday from somebody. Dallas, I don't know. I think he might have a player option, but I assume he's going to opt out. I mean, I think he's making like at least $18 million a year right now, so he's on a bigger contract for a player like him. But I like what he did in the playoffs a lot. He was really good. I mean, he was easily their second best player maybe all season, but especially in the playoffs. He was much better than Porzingis. But it just depends on if they want to try to go after like Kawhi Leonard or not, because then you obviously have to let Tim Hardaway go. And if you don't get Kawhi Leonard, then you're kind of screwed. But I think Porzingis does have to go. I think you have to trade him for another ball handler. I think, like you said, you need to get another primary ball handler. I think you can get a point guard, a shooting guard. It does not matter. You can get, because Luka he can play with the 1 or 2 or the 3. Like I said, Dame Lillard would be insane, but that's kind of unrealistic. Even like CJ McCollum, though. Like, I know that's like, if you just did a CJ for Porzingis trade,
that's not.
I feel like Porzingis would be. I don't know. Porzingis for Portland doesn't really fix their needs either, but just a guy that can literally just be a scoring threat next to Luka. I go back to this too, but like if the Suns drafted Luka instead of Ayton, like Luka and Booker is a unreal duo. Like that is just a perfect fit. They need another ball handler. Luka's just, when he comes off the floor, they can't run an offense. I mean, they literally just they cannot run offense.
I mean, it looks like a JV team is out there.
But yeah, Dallas, they're definitely not in a panic or anything just because of how young Luka is. But at the same time, you have to realize like you have to capitalize off of him being on his small contract, which they tried to do with Porzingis. So at least they tried, but it just didn't work, and that's okay, I guess.
Yeah. As a Mavericks fan, he's gonna sign the Supermax this year, which is what, a 4-year contract? Like 3 years with a play.
5-year.
Oh, 5-year?
Yeah.
The window could be after year 3 of this contract. You got to think, the cap space increases. They have more money to spend and go out and get somebody. Luka won't be the highest paid player in the NBA in 3 years. It'll be some new guy because cap space increases, and that's just the way it works. Mike Conley at one point was the highest paid player in the NBA. Like, Luka won't be the highest paid player in the NBA for more than 2 years. But I do want they do have to stay competitive though, or else Luka's gonna want out if they don't.
Exactly. And with a guy as good as Luka, you have to stay competitive. You can't just be maybe if Luka goes down with an injury, gonna miss some significant amount of time, then maybe you say, all right, let's take this year off like the Warriors did, get a good pick, and then this will be our 1 year that we suck. Then we'll get back into contention.
Yep.
That's like the only reason why they should not be contending.
The thing is, I think Luka is a perfect fit in Dallas. He's a superstar. He's funny. He's charismatic. He speaks very well. Next to probably the most famous GM or owner in the NBA, I'd say Mark Cuban.
Probably, yeah.
It's just a perfect fit.
Dallas is a big market too. I mean, players will want to play with Luka.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I love it. The issue is Luka's got to have the ball out of his hands more, which sounds funny and crazy, but it's just the way it is. We haven't seen a one-man show win an NBA Finals since 2018 Braun.
They didn't win.
No, you're right.
It's never happened.
Yeah. So he needs help. He needs to not have the ball in his hands all the time.
Yeah. So moving on to the last team that we get to talk to, save the best for last, man. The Los Angeles Lakers. This was a team that was the 7th seed due to a lot of, LeBron and AD getting hurt. They were the 1 seed before those two guys went down. And a lot of people, including me and Easton and pretty much everyone else, expected the Lakers to win this series, even though they were the 7th seed. I want to give a quick shout out to the Phoenix Suns for winning this series because they were for sure doubted by a lot of people. Yes, LeBron was not 100%. Anthony Davis missed a few games, and he clearly was not 100% after he got hurt in like game 3, I'm pretty sure. But the Lakers lose. LeBron James loses in the first round for the first time ever. I really did not expect this to happen. First, I just want to do a quick LeBron fan rant. I'm a LeBron James fan, but I'm not like a guy that's going to sit here and make a bunch of excuses for why he lost in the first round this year. Yes, he definitely is not 100%. He's injured, but I just don't like these other LeBron fans that are like, or just LeBron, just people in general.
LeBron stans.
No, not like NBA fans that are like, LeBron needs to score 40-point triple-double to win this series. Like, that's not, he is 36 years old. Like, he's definitely, his age is starting to show. I watched a YouTube video and it was it was like a montage of just his greatest playoff moments. And then this year, him just like it was just his age showing, and it was just really, really sad because it's his age I think is finally starting to show, and this is weird because I officially do think that like LeBron James is not the best player in the NBA anymore, and it's really weird to say that because he always has been. But Lakers, they're obviously. They won the championship last year. They're in no spot to rebuild or anything. Their offseason is going to look a lot different than Portland and Dallas. But what do the Lakers have to do this offseason?
I'm going to get my LeBron piece in a little bit. Or I'll get it in right now. As a LeBron fan, and I am a LeBron stan, I'm huge, but I'm not the fan on Twitter who's saying there was the play when they were down like 5 against Suns or whatever, and he didn't run back. He was bitching at the refs. I hate that, too.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that side of LeBron.
Like, trust me.
He was not getting back on defense plenty of times, and that annoys the hell out of me,
Trust me, we are basketball fans as much as we are LeBron fans, and that's not hoops.
And we're like hustlers, too. Like, we're not guys. I mean, obviously, we're not in the NBA, so we always have been like that, but like, I'm not about to just like walk back on defense,
never.
bro. Like
I would never even
that.
think about it. It's just like a pride thing, and it sucks that LeBron is so proud and has so much pride that he feels like he doesn't have to. However, because there's no excuses. What I'm saying is, huge LeBron fan. This was hard. Game 5, I'm sitting next to Jordan watching this game, and I look at him, and LeBron has like a shoulder bump going to the lane, and usually, I mean, earlier in the season, he was turning it over and dunking it. And all of a sudden, it was just like a layup. And I was like, holy moly. And a couple plays later, it just wasn't good. And I looked at Jordan and I said, dude, he's getting there. Like, it's showing right now. This is LeBron's start to the decline. And I don't know where the decline ends. The decline could end at him averaging a 15-point triple-double.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the decline looks like.
I feel like he'll never average under 20, but... Who knows?
Yeah.
Depends on how long he plays.
How many did he average in the playoffs? Like 23? 22?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, and it's hard because now you got to, it sounds weird, but you're almost building around Anthony Davis. Like LeBron.
I mean, I think you for sure are. Yeah,
LeBron's your point guard.
Prime.
AD is your best player now. AD is not better than LeBron yet. No, he isn't. But you got to get some more guys around him. So the Lakers, what do they need to do? Need to get another ball handler.
Check the video. Need
to get a center that can stretch the floor. And Marc Gasol is not it. Needs to be a little bit more in shape and athletic than Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol still clogs up the paint even though he can't stretch the floor. And defensively is an absolute liability.
Let's talk about what because you can just say they need to do this, need to do that. But they have, they can't just go get those guys. Yeah. They have technically 3 big free agents going into this offseason. Andre Drummond is the big one, a guy who they acquired middle of the season. Was all right for the Lakers, but I think Lakers fans expected Drummond to be this all-star type center, and he just wasn't. I mean, like he really wasn't that good for the Lakers.
Average.
Montrezl Harrell was a guy who was really good last year for the Clippers, and then just kind of fell out of the rotation for the Lakers when they got Andre Drummond, especially in the playoffs, just because Montrez didn't really fit next to Anthony Davis. He has a player option that I think he'll decline, but I really don't know because I don't know what his value is money wise. I think it's for I think it's a $9 million. I think he signed a $218 last offseason. So I don't know if he'll be making more than that, but I feel like he'll be gone. And then Dennis Smith Jr., who declined a huge extension during the middle of the season, like $484 million, I'm pretty sure, betting on himself, and then he played like absolute dog shit in the playoffs. So he's probably not going to get that amount of money. But, I mean, do you think any of those 3 guys are going to be Lakers next year?
No, and I don't think it's a huge loss. I think you're clearing up money in the books. There's a couple other guys that I think I'd be okay with losing. But those 3, I do not see them being Lakers
I feel like
year.
the most likely one is Dennis Smith, or not Dennis Smith. Did I say Dennis Smith Jr. the first time?
Yeah.
Dennis Schroeder, sorry.
Yeah, I thought you meant Dennis Schroeder. I was like, Dennis Smith Jr. does not play for them.
Dennis Schroeder, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I feel like he could be back with the Lakers, maybe on a 1-year deal, 1-year extension. But
I was doing that same thing the other day with Jordan. I was calling him Dennis Schroeder Jr.
I don't know why I did. But
I was doing it too.
But yeah, I feel like he could be back with the Lakers, but I think Drummond is for sure gone. Like, I feel like there's no way he's still a Laker after this year. Montrez, maybe he'll opt into his player option. Probably not, though. But I do think that the Lakers, first thing they got to do is just get healthy. Anthony Davis is, I hate to say this, and I might be wrong for me to say this, but I feel like he is going to be another one of these what-if players. Injuries have really torn his years apart the last like 2 or 3 years, except for last year with the Lakers. He didn't really get hurt, but this whole season he dealt with so many injuries, and he is a guy that just like when he goes down, and he goes down a lot.
Oh my, every game.
He goes down a lot, and when he does, it's just like, oh man, how long is he gonna be out for this time?
Yeah,
he can't stay healthy, and I know that it's this whole narrative of he can't play the 5 or he doesn't want to play the 5 even though he should. Maybe that is that transition is a lot bigger than most fans think, and maybe his body cannot just handle it. I think they need to get healthy, though. First of all, is the biggest thing. And I don't know. I think you might look to package a couple of your guys for a third star. I mean, obviously not a star, but a good player. Kyle Kuzma is going to be making $13 million next year. KCP is going to be making $13 million next year. You can package those two for a guy who's making a larger amount of money. And they don't have a lot of draft capital, but, I mean, I saw something for like a Malcolm Brogdon type player. That would be really nice. I think he's making right in that mid-$20 million range. Something like that. But I think they definitely need to make moves, even though Rob Pelinka said that he doesn't want to make drastic changes, which I do think is fair. I don't think drastic changes is what's needed.
I do think the one guy who needs to get out, and I'm not hating on him, I just don't think the fit works, and it is Kuzma.
Yeah.
He gets all the hate and unwarranted
hate.
Had
the worst Game 6 like
ever.
Of all time, bro.
Ever.
Everyone. Did you see I saw this TikTok, and it was like the Lakers posted this thing on Instagram. Thank you, Lakers fans. And Kyle Kuzma put it on his Instagram story. And then it was someone clicking on that post and literally scrolls for days. Every single comment. Trade Kuzma. Fuck Kuzma. Get rid of Kuzma. Trade Kuzma.
That poor dude.
All of them, bro. Like, literally, there wasn't one that was not about Kuzma.
That's just it. Kuzma had good playoffs last year. It was because he didn't have to do anything. He had to go out there and play defense
this year, too.
But Kuzma, when he is called upon to step up and score the basketball, it's not good. And when he tries to score the basketball, it's not good. I don't even know if he's ever called upon. He might just go out there and try. But Kuzma's got to be moved. No hate to him. I think he can be a successful player in this league. And he's still, how old is he, 27, 26?
Kuzma?
24?
Yeah, he's probably like 24, 23.
He's younger side. He's still got a lot of career left. And I'm really hopeful that wherever he goes, he's a bigger role. I want him to go to a rebuilding team.
Yeah, I think he's always been a player that I've just thought would do a lot better on a team that it kind of sucks, I guess. Like Kuzma on the Pistons, bro, would be nice, I feel like. I feel like he'd be nice. I feel like he'd average like 18 a game probably. Yeah, he would be like, I don't know. He would probably try to do too much, but I just feel like when he plays for the Lakers, he tries to do too much and that's not what they need him to do. I mean, at times, obviously, he doesn't do this every single time he plays on the court, but at times I do think he just tries to do too much where it's like, we don't need that when you have LeBron and AD and Dennis Schroeder, who's a lot better, even KCP. Like,
there are moments where he catches the ball and it just looks like he panics. There were multiple times where he just threw the ball away, just got rid of it. The one LeBron looks at him like, "Are you stupid? Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, calm down." And it just felt like Kuzma was always in a rush against the Suns. And this Suns team, everybody's got to realize this Suns team is the 2 seed for a reason. They have the top. I mean, he's one of the best floor generals in the whole league, Chris Paul, playing next to young budding superstar Devin Booker. Great defensive big man in DeAndre and good offensive player, great rebounder. Mikal Bridges, budding young two-way player who's going to be elite in this league. Cameron Johnson, who's I think is going to be extremely good role player in his career. This is not a Suns team that's a pushover. They're not a joke. They're a well-built
But at the same time,
roster.
I think a fully healthy Lakers team
is better.
Should beat Phoenix in 6.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's proof is right there. Lakers were the 1 seed at not fully healthy. Mm-hmm. They were still battling injuries. I'm really hoping this next couple of years looks like for AD, looks like what Joel Embiid's season this year did. Joel Embiid has battled injuries his whole career, came back this year, number 3 in MVP voting, played a lot of games. didn't miss too many. Granted, he's hurt. He's nursing an injury, I guess.
I just think. Go ahead.
No, the butt wasn't.
I just think that the Lakers do need to Drummond. The Drummond experiment did not work, and Montrezl Harrell really didn't work either. I do think that you either need to commit. All right, Anthony Davis is going to be the center, or you need to get a guy who can just not clog the paint. Like Drummond just clogged the paint and did not. It doesn't work for LeBron, a guy who likes to attack the hoop. He became a lot more nonchalant, I feel like, with Drummond. And obviously Anthony Davis is a guy who really likes to work around the elbows. And with Drummond standing on the opposite block, it's a very easy for Anthony Davis to take a contested mid-range shot rather than going, make a move attacking the basket. Lakers, though, I'm excited to see what they're going to do because I definitely think they're going to do something. I mean, I've never seen a LeBron James team that lost that was just like, we'll just bring back the same guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, LeBron's teams are always making moves, so I'm excited to see what the Lakers are going to do. Ready to talk about the second-round matchups now.
Yep.
And this will be the last time we talk about the Lakers for the rest of these playoffs because they're still getting talked about a lot. So, yeah, unless something crazy happens.
Like somebody says something, but I doubt it. Oh, wait, real quick.
Go ahead.
What is up with Magic Johnson on Twitter?
Oh, I know. We've already talked about that. Was funny, yeah.
Magic Johnson goes on Twitter and calls out the Lakers GM about who is running the show. Oh, they need some more ball-dominant leadership or whatever he said about the point guard, I think, in all honesty.
He just said, the Lakers need some major, or Rob Pelinka, general manager of the Lakers, needs to make some major moves this offseason because some Lakers players played very poorly in the playoffs.
Yeah, no shit, Magic.
Have you ever seen his tweets?
Yeah.
All his tweets are like that. They're very formally written, but really why did you even tweet that? Just obvious stuff.
And it's a duh thing, and it's also who are you to tell the GM what they're doing wrong? You were awful. The only thing you did was get LeBron. And he only came to you because it was LA.
Yeah, exactly. Before we talk about second round matchups, quick pop quiz, NBA playoffs pop quiz. Name me who is before the games tonight because the Hawks-Philly game already happened tonight. So before that game, who leads the league in playoff points so far in these playoffs? Who is the total leader of playoff points?
Kevin Durant.
False. Kevin Durant was third.
Okay, let me think. It's not gonna be Book. Not gonna. Is it Kyrie?
Kyrie is not in the top 5. I only wrote down the top 5.
Okay, Trae Young.
Trae Young is not in the top 5. You gotta think amount of games that these teams played. Trae Young only played 5 games.
Oh yeah, who might have played 7 games? Oh, Kawhi.
Kawhi is second.
Paul George.
Is not top 5. Luka is number 1.
It's Luka.
Luka 250 points in the 7-game series. Only series that went 7 games, which is really surprising because I thought we were gonna have a lot of 7s.
Me too.
So let's start off in the East. Game 1 of Philly-Atlanta was a really good one. I got to watch a little bit of this game. I was at work, but I watched some of it on my break. Trae Young went nuts though, but they played game 2. Philly won, I'm pretty sure. Let's check it out. Yeah, 76ers win 118-102. Joel Embiid scores 40 playoff career high 40 points, 13 rebounds.
So he's back. He's good.
Yeah, I mean he went off in game 1 too. He went nuts. He had 38 or 39, I'm pretty sure. But the simple thing for the Hawks in game 1, they shot the shit out of the ball and did not miss. They hit an insane amount of threes. Trae Young was going off. It doesn't matter. They had Matisse Thybulle and Danny Green on him for most of the first half. Wasn't working. They threw Ben Simmons on him in the second half. Wasn't working. I mean, it was pretty crazy that because the Sixers are a very, very good defensive team with a lot of really good perimeter defenders, and it did not matter.
I saw the hottest first take ever on Twitter. It was a picture of Trae Young and Kevin Huerter, and then it was a picture of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And I was like, okay, hilarious.
Kevin Huerter had 20 off the bench for the Hawks tonight, too.
He ain't Klay Thompson.
Trae Young had 21 and 11 tonight. Bogdanovich had 14. Gallo had 21 and 9 off the bench, but Philly...
Did Onyeko play a lot?
He played 6 minutes.
Oh, he didn't get many minutes.
He hasn't been really playing that much in the playoffs. Joel Embiid, 40 and 13. Tobias Harris, 22. Seth Curry, 21. Yeah, Ben Simmons only had 4 points, but only shot the ball 3 times. So.
Huh?
Yeah.
How many minutes did he play?
35.
Holy shit.
I mean, if he's out there just to play defense and pass the ball, I mean, he does a pretty damn good job at it. So
he does.
But yeah, the Hawks win. The Hawks won game 1, which I think is a W to take game 1 of this series. I just can't believe Joel Embiid, like, his injury was not that significant, but like a slight tear in his meniscus, like that does not sound like a day-to-day. Like he's put up 40 in game 2 and almost 40 in game 1 and like seemed not even hurt. I really thought that his injury was going to be a main factor in this series. Clearly it is not, but they're tied 1-1 right now. So, I mean, what are you expecting for the rest of this series?
I expect the Hawks to keep and continue to put up a really good fight. However, playoff experience comes into play. Sixers have it all. Playoff defense comes into play. Sixers have it all. They've got, I mean, you just named Danny Green, Matisse Thybulle, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid. What a great defensive roster.
I mean, like, Tobias Harris is a pretty solid defender, too.
Yeah. Don't they have who's the 4? Who plays the 4 for
Tobias?
them? Yeah, I guess that's their starting. Yeah. Yeah. That's a great defensive roster, and you can really match up extremely well with this Hawks team, who is very deep. Offensively, you're not an issue with Joel Embiid scoring 40. There's no problems. Clint Capella looked extremely good in game 1 defensively.
Yeah, he did.
Like, extremely good. However, I'm not sure the Hawks have enough defense. Kevin Huerter is a defensive liability. He's just not great. Trae Young is, I don't actually.
See, okay, I don't like, you use that term very loosely, defensive liability. I feel like you are a liability. To me, that means you cannot play if you're a liability.
Okay.
If you're putting up 20 off the bench, I feel like that's not a defensive liability if you're that good of a shooter on offense, I guess. Like, yeah, you're not the best on defense, but you can hide a guy on the wing who's not a very good defender.
And that's what I'm saying is he's a guy you have to hide.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what I'm saying.
I just feel like a liability is like, to me at least, that's a guy who you can't even play if he's a liability.
Okay, I gotta find a new word, I guess. But like when I'm saying that, I mean like you have to hide him. You have to work to keep him off the ball, off of good players like they do.
Yeah.
Barry Hill is telling me how Duncan Robinson has the best defensive rating in the NBA. And I said, how many times have you watched him guard the ball?
Yeah.
Never.
Exactly.
He never does. I guess you're right. But
where the hell did he see that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I saw that on a Michigan fan page. Guaranteed, bro.
But
dude tried telling me Jordan Poole is better than Draymond Green.
Dude, that was I don't even want to talk about that night because that was the same. That's the same way I'm like, you see LeBron fans defending him for not running back. Yeah. That was the way I felt that night.
Barry Hill he's very biased fan, but it's funny because he knows he is, so he makes things way more biased than he even thinks they are.
He thought Tim Hardaway stood a chance against Jaren Jackson. He thought that's
like
pretty
Tim
good.
Hardaway, he's solid, yeah,
but Jaren
Jackson's gonna be a superstar.
Yeah,
Tim Hardaway's a pretty good shooter.
Anyways,
yeah, that's pretty. I don't have much else to talk about Philly, Atlanta. I expect it to be a good series. I'm going to go with Philly in 6. I think Atlanta will win another game, especially in Atlanta. But
I'm going to go Philly in 7.
Atlanta has a chance to win this series, though. Like, I'm not counting them out at all. But they definitely have a chance to win this series. But I don't think Philly needs to panic at all.
No.
Next Eastern Conference series, one that has been
not
way different than I thought. Brooklyn versus Milwaukee. Brooklyn comes out in game 1. James Harden gets hurt like 3 minutes into the game, and Brooklyn still wins big. Blake Griffin had like 18 and 14 or something
dunking
in game
on
1.
Everybody.
Yeah, and then in game 2, had that crazy dunk on Giannis. Brooklyn won by like 40. Kevin Durant went off. Kyrie had a good game. Brooklyn has killed Milwaukee in both of these games, running their small ball lineup. I mean, I really expected this series to be better, and I don't think it's over by any means. I mean, both 2 games were in Brooklyn. I definitely think Milwaukee still has a chance to come back in this series, but did not expect this.
Watched a super good film breakdown of these games, and the very first thing it said is Giannis has to play the 5. He cannot play the 4 anymore.
Especially in this series.
Why wouldn't you?
Not many, dude. Really, not a lot of teams are running a center anymore.
No.
Like, that are left. You have Embiid. You have Jokic. You have Ayton. Okay, actually, never mind, because you have Gobert, Capella, I guess. So, yeah, I guess you do. But, like, there's plenty of teams that have not been, like, Portland wasn't running a center. The Clippers weren't. Dallas wasn't. Yeah, there's a lot of teams that haven't been running centers in these playoffs.
Oh man, lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. It was about Giannis playing the 5.
Yeah. Okay. So Giannis, there was plays where Giannis would because the 5 would be running down the middle of the lane, posting up in the middle of the floor, and Giannis would sit on the top of the key, and Blake Griffin would just help on the big man. Like Drew Holiday had no pass, and there was one play that was really bad where Drew Holiday tried lobbing it in, and Blake Griffin basically flipped Giannis off and just sprinted off and tipped it. And it was like, yeah, Giannis can't sit out on the perimeter. He is ineffective, and you can just help off him, and you have no paint game. You cannot get in the paint if Giannis isn't in the paint because there's too much help defense.
Yeah, unless he has the ball on the perimeter.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have the ball, he should be in the paint.
Yes, absolutely. Giannis should be at playing 5. He should be in the dunker spot more often. You have built this team so that he can play the 5. I felt like when you made these moves this summer for Drew Holiday, you said, okay, yeah, we have more ball-dominant guys. He doesn't need the ball on the perimeter as much. Yeah, he still needs to get his touches on the elbow and on the wings and running, sprinting full head of steam up court.
Yeah.
But he's got to play a lot more
And that's
5.
the thing, too. Like, that doesn't mean you can't play Brook Lopez. You can play Brook Lopez. Just tell him to sit in the corner the whole time. Like, he's out there to shoot threes, and then on defense, he can protect the rim.
Splash Mountain.
Like, yeah, he doesn't, like, that doesn't mean Brook Lopez can just be the 4. I mean, you can still play them together. Yeah, Brooklyn has dominated this series. Even like Mike James is playing like huge minutes for this team. Played like 30 minutes the other night. It's cool to see, and Bruce Brown also went off in game 1 too. It is cool to see the amount of Detroit Pistons, former Detroit Pistons, that are playing very well in these playoffs. I mean, Blake Griffin, obviously, Bruce Brown, Luke Kennard had played good in the end of the Clippers series.
Yep.
Marcus Morris has been phenomenal. There's a couple more too that I saw like a whole list of them. But there's no way I'm gonna be able to remember them all. But it's just
Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris, yeah, exactly. So like, it's cool to see all the former Pistons playing well and in the playoffs and going far. Brooklyn, Milwaukee. How do you? And there's no James Harden. That's the craziest part. No James Harden. That's the part that's just like, all right, like what?
Don't bring back James Harden until you lose a game. There's no reason to.
I guess you're right. Yeah, true.
Like literally, if you go up 3-0, I wouldn't play him the rest of the series.
I saw a TikTok, bro. I want to say too, Atlanta beating Philly in game 1 was the most like over exaggerated. I saw a TikTok that said the Atlanta Hawks were gonna win the NBA Finals.
Oh my god!
And it was like this legit. Like no
that
offense,
sounds like me
bro.
when we're watching the games.
No offense to like Trae Young and the Hawks. Like they have a great team. They could beat Philly, but there's no way they beat either Milwaukee or Brooklyn. And even like. Or they might be able to beat one of these West teams, but like Atlanta versus Utah, like Utah's gonna pick them apart, bro.
Gonna kill them.
They have so much more experience. Like it would be really cool to see
They're
Atlanta
like the
do it.
same team,
but,
just better.
Yeah,
there's not much difference.
But and have been in the playoffs like the last 8 years.
You have Mike Conley running the one, the experienced point guard, and Donovan Mitchell,
Joe and Ingles and Bogdanovich on the wing. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Donovan Mitchell's the only like young player on that team, and he still has made the playoffs like every year of his career.
And been
like
the best player on his team, like
yeah.
3 of those years.
Yeah,
probably all of them.
But how do you expect the rest of this Milwaukee Brooklyn? I mean, do you expect Milwaukee to win a game?
I hope so. I expect Milwaukee to win at least 2. But at the same time, are they going to win one next game?
They need to make drastic changes.
Giannis, if they don't move Giannis to the 5.
Also, Giannis needs to play 45 minutes a night. Too.
Quit babying him.
Why is he playing 35 minutes in the second round of the playoffs?
He should not come off the floor except for the last 2 minutes of the first half.
Yeah.
That should be the only time he comes off. Giannis needs to play more, yeah. He needs to play the 5, and if that doesn't happen, you guys won't win a game. I truly believe that. I mean, maybe I guess you could sneak one out if everybody's shooting well. Bucks are losing Dante DiVincenzo, which is a big piece, but not big enough to lose by 40.
And that's the thing. They're off. It's really not their defense. Like the Brooklyn's gonna score. It doesn't matter how great of a defense that this Bucks team has. A phenomenal defense. A lot of great individual defenders. Pretty much all of them. But Brooklyn's gonna score. I mean, their team that they have. They are gonna get buckets, but their offense should score more than Brooklyn should against their defense, just because Brooklyn's defense is not that good. I also saw something that was like maybe the reason for this is because they're game planning to play against the big 3 with James Harden, and James Harden goes out, and now they have all these other X factor players playing well. Blake Griffin, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, I think, has been hurt, but just the rest of Joe Harris, obviously. Because the Brooklyn is a much different team when James Harden plays. I mean, obviously, he's James Harden. I think Brooklyn is going to win this series in like 5 or 6 games, but it's 2-0. So, I mean, there's plenty of time. Milwaukee was up 2-0 a couple years ago against Toronto in the conference finals and lost 4 straight. So, but the same thing though, Mike Budenholzer is not a guy that is known to make changes. He really does not. He's a good coach, but he does not make changes when they need to be changed.
He's going to just tell them to do what they're doing, just better.
Like, we'll see what happens, but
I am excited for that series. Let's move to the West.
Let's move to the West. Let's talk about Utah since we were just talking about them. Game 1 of this series is going on right now, actually. So let's check on what the score is, though. But Mike Conley is not playing in tonight's game. I really thought that he would just because they got a lot of extra days off, but he's not playing. Right now, the Clippers are up 43-30 with about 9 minutes left in the second quarter, or 5 minutes left in the second quarter. So, yeah, it's getting close to halftime. Clippers have a pretty solid lead so far. Luke Kennard is the leading scorer with 11 points. Not bad, Luke.
I see the Clippers.
Reggie Jackson is another huge one that we forgot. Yeah.
I see the Clippers, in all honesty, probably winning this series in 6. It's early, obviously, but if I had to make a prediction, the Clippers have impressed me, and honestly, I think running into Luka hurt them more than it was good for them.
Yeah.
This Clippers team is elite. They're probably the finals favorite out of the West.
Probably, but like
there's
maybe them
competition.
or Phoenix.
There's
maybe.
competition. It's arguable.
I think just the Clippers going down 3-2, I mean, they were down 2-0 to Dallas, and then they got down by like 20 points in the first quarter of Game 3. And things did not look good, and I just feel like they've done so much to come back from that series. They were down 3-2, and won the last 2 games. I do think this team can make a finals run. A lot of guys, I mean, shout out to T. Lue for making a lot of changes. Luke Kennard was not playing, and now he is, and is playing well. He decided, all right, we need to stop playing Zubac against the Mavericks. And Zubac is not going to play. Boogie Cousins is not going to play. We're going to run small. Marcus Morris has been really good for them. Terrence Mann had a really good game for them the other night. Rondo has been doing really well, but this series is a lot different, though, because now with going against Utah, I mean, Zubac can play again. Pat Beverly, a guy who was quit getting minutes in the Mavericks series. I wonder if Zubac has played tonight, actually. That's something I want to check on. Just because, I mean, they have Gobert now and a guy who actually is in the paint. Yeah, Zubac played 8 minutes off the bench so far in this game. Beverly has played again. He's got 6 minutes. So Boogie Cousins has even played, too.
Oh, really?
So they still started they started Batum and Marcus Morris at their 4 and 5 still, but
I don't see this Clippers team allowing themselves to get in the position they got into last series. I think, in all honesty, if they're going to lose the series and if they're going to start off 2-0 again, loot down, I think that'll be series over. I don't think they're going to allow themselves to get back into this situation where they're fighting again. They're just going to win the first 2 this time. Oh, shit, we got to bring our A game right from the jump.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to have in the first round. What happened to the Clippers in the first round is not a bad thing. That's a test. That's a nut check. They were checked in that first round. They're not going to allow that to happen again.
Especially if you can overcome that. I mean, if obviously if you lose in the first round, it sucks. But if you can overcome that check, like you said, in the first round, I think after that you got it all figured out. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I do think Utah is being slept on. I think they're a really, really good team. Super deep, like we said, a lot of experience. I kind of want to say the winner of this series makes the finals, but I don't know. I just think I could randomly see Utah making the finals, bro. They had the best record in the NBA.
I think Phoenix is crazy.
I think so too, but I don't know. I think the East still wins the finals, but Utah Clippers is gonna be a really good series. I'm gonna predict this goes 6 or 7. I'm gonna pick the Clippers in 7. I think that Utah is gonna put up a really good fight, but if Utah wins, I will not be surprised.
I got Clippers in 6.
All.
Clippers in 6.
So let's talk about Denver, Phoenix. This is going to be a super fun series just because these are 2 younger teams with a lot of budding stars. Obviously, one of them has the MVP on their team. But this is a lot different because when Denver played against Portland, Jokic really didn't have anybody that could match up against him, whereas last night he had DeAndre Ayton. Ayton did a pretty solid job against Jokic. I got to watch most of this game. It was a pretty good game. Chris Paul was playing pretty well. He definitely still is a little injured, but Devin Booker went off. Torrey Craig has been putting in really good minutes for them. Michael Porter Jr. is doing pretty well, but I don't know, it's kind of weird because Denver against Phoenix, you think, okay, they don't have a guy who can guard Chris Paul or Devin Booker, but they also were going up against Dame and CJ last round too, and they won in 6. So, I mean, Austin Rivers is actually a lot better of a defender than I thought he was. He's a solid defender.
He plays so hard.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's not like a elite defender by any means, but yeah, he plays hard. That's definitely what he does.
And it's not the hard that Pat Beverly plays, where he's fouling and overly aggressive. He's very smart.
He's a veteran player that is a very smart defender
and hustles all over the place. I like watching Austin Rivers, and he was a guy I used to not like watching.
Yeah, same too. I hated him at Duke for sure. This series though is gonna be fun. This series is gonna be really good. Phoenix won a pretty tight game last night. This one I think goes 7, for sure. And I don't know who I'm gonna pick. I mean, I know Phoenix won game 1, so I might lean towards them. But I mean, we have the MVP here. I don't think Ayton is going to be able to stop.
I don't even want to make a prediction.
Especially when Ayton comes off of the floor, bro. They need to take advantage of that. If Ayton comes off the floor, Jokic, you get in.
But can Jokic play 40 minutes a game? What if Ayton can?
Yeah. They both can. Jokic for sure. He's been playing 40 minutes a game.
That's what I don't think you're ever going to see it. There's not going to be a long time unless you get Ayton in foul trouble.
There's not. Yeah, true, exactly. If he gets in foul trouble, they might be done for. But Ayton had a good game.
Yeah. I mean, these are two teams with obviously an already budded superstar, Jokic, and a currently budding superstar in D-Book. This is the same guy that went 8-0 in the bubble last year. Led his team to 8-0 in the bubble. He is now the 2 seed making a run at the finals. That's a budding superstar.
Yeah.
Under 25. Put his name in the conversation of up next superstars because he is.
Mm-hmm. I'm super excited to watch the rest of these games. I want to check to see which ones are on tomorrow. I assume it'll be probably Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Denver, Phoenix again. But looks like the Clippers-Jazz game is a little closer. It's a 9-point game now with 3 minutes left in the second. I kind of want to watch it, bro. I don't know. I might stay up late. I might just stream it illegally because there's all those websites.
I go to Lansing tomorrow morning. I can sleep. I've been sleeping with Tim in the car lately. Tim drives.
Wait,
and
what did he say? Tomorrow night is just Nuggets Suns at 9:30. So, and then Thursday. So how come the Nuggets Suns got to play, but the Nets Bucks get another? Oh, I guess they've already played 2 games in their series. That's probably why. Yeah, Nets Bucks and the Clippers Jazz got to play on Thursday, but the Philly Atlanta doesn't got to play till Friday.
Dude,
what?
They just throw these. They just throw the games.
I think they're just trying to make the games more even because only game 1 of Utah, LA is tonight.
Yes, they didn't get 2 in. I guess.
And that's the thing too. Another reason why I'm kind of leaning towards Utah is they got so much more rest than the Clippers just played Game 7 2 nights ago on Sunday night, and they're already playing Game 1 of this series where Utah had pretty much a whole week off to rest. That fatigue plays a huge factor. This isn't the bubble anymore where they're just going back to their hotel room, 2 blocks away. They got to travel, and it's going to play a factor. So I'm excited to watch the rest of these playoffs. And, yeah, is that pretty much it?
I think that wraps
it is
it up.
late. It is 11:20 right now. I need to go to bed.
It's the latest I've ever stayed up.
But I'm probably going to watch the game. So
I might stick around for a little bit watching
maybe.
my dad.
Who knows?
Who knows?
All right. Peace.
Peace.